the end goal to the management program is simple. We just want to hunt and kill big deer, you know. So my end goal is to, you know, for everyone that comes here, I want them to have the opportunity at hunting a 150 or better. So our management program, it's actually pretty simple. We're just targeting mature 150 plus whitetail. So, you know, there's no secret to deer management, seriously. It just takes time to grow a big deer. And we just have to stop killing the small deer, you know, like the 130s, 140 class deer. If we let them walk, you know, give them another year or two, they're in that 150 to 170 class, or bigger, you know. So yeah, there's really no secret. It's number one is time. Number two is having the right people in place, sitting in the stands and the ground blinds. You know, we've got a lot of people that are repeat. I'm going to call them clients, but they're really friends. You know, they come here as a client, they leave as a friend, they keep coming back year after year. They buy into our management program and see what we're doing and seeing the results. So, you know, the biggest thing in management is just letting those small deer walk. You know, the hunter's role, the client's role in the management program is don't pull the trigger. You know, we had a client of ours, I think that you talked to just in the muzzleloader season. You know, he put it very wisely. He said, if you take that safety off and your heart rate doesn't go to the roof, maybe you should put the safety back on. You know, and we always say, if that deer is a shooter, it's not gonna be a question. If you have to talk yourself into shooting it, it's probably not a shooter. I always say I like to coach. I mean, you have to coach people. You know, a lot of the guys that are coming here have hunted Saskatchewan for 10, 20 years. Those guys, they know. They've made the mistakes. You know, they've killed the big deer. They've made the mistakes in their early career hunting in Saskatchewan. So the biggest thing I like to do with guys that are new to hunting deer here, number one is share pictures. One thing I don't do is I don't share a bunch of pictures of the big deer. The big deer are easy. The big deer are easy. I mean, when they walk in, you're gonna know he's a giant, he's a big deer. You know, the ones I like to share. So say somebody draws a stand bear dead, the one we're at right now. You know, I will share pictures with that guy saying, listen, there's a mature or a young 10 in there, a young 10 point. You know, he's probably 130. He's going to be tempting because he's a 10 point, but he's a young deer. So that's the thing I think is beneficial for the guy sitting in the blind or sitting in the stand. If he knows there's a 10 in there that's close and he has a picture on his phone and a deer walks in, oh, yeah, Greg told me that's a 130 class deer, so he lets him walk. That's been a really successful way of helping guys not pull a trigger on a young deer. Don't typically name a deer unless we think he's worthy. You know, and where the names come from, well, some of them we name, some of them the clients name. So, you know, we're hunting one deer right now, and his name came because he's been around for 6-7 years, and we named him Houdini. He just disappears and then he appears, and you know, we had one guy see him. We're hunting them right now. So yeah, it's the names are usually unique to the deer or to the person hunting the deer, or you know, stuff like that. But there's no rhyme or reason to the names. It just comes to us, or you know, somebody pulls a name out of the air and says, yeah, that's a good name, kind of thing. So yeah, so it's just something fun. You know, we don't typically name a deer that's 3 years old and he's got really good potential. We won't name him because, hey, he's not worthy of a name yet. So that's kind of where the name comes from. Yeah, that's the other fun thing about naming the deer is everybody associates that name to that deer. So yeah, you have a deer that has the name, you look at the picture, oh yeah, that's Houdini, you know. So everybody knows that's that deer. You know, we had another deer that we actually we got this year. We've been hunting for 3 years, Mr. Krabs. Everybody knew who Mr. Krabs was. You send a drop box out, you're like, oh yeah, that's Mr. Krabs. So yeah, that's another fun part, is all the people that come here and hunt here associate those names with those specific deer. That's the great part about doing this, is, you know, every day is different. You know, you can be on stand one day, oh man, you know, my activity was slow, and it's fun to come in at the end of the day, and, you know, say you have 6 guys out, and you know, everybody's sharing their stories at the dinner table, and you know, one guy says, yeah, my activity was pretty good up until 10 o'clock or 11 or 1 or whatever, and it's always the same. So, you know, you might have one stand that's really active all the time, but and that's why, you know, every day is different. So what we typically like to do is hunt. If you draw a stand, we like to stay there 2 to 3 days. For the simple fact is, the first day and the third day are going to be different, you know. So that's what we like to typically do, is at least hunt that spot for 2 to 3 days, just to make sure that we're not missing something. Well, everybody's out spending time in the stand, watching for that mature buck that we're hunting. We're out, like I say, we're baiting, checking cards, looking after things, and making sure that if something else shows up, we can get people on it. So that's more or less a typical day, I guess, at Whitetail Camp. So for our baiting practices, we like to we stay on top of it, of course. I never like to let a bait go low or empty. Typically we go to every bait every other day, every 2 days, I guess. There's always a bail there. There's always something to hold the deer at the bait. You know, good alfalfa, good hay, and we freshen up with grain every 2 days. So very important to keep your does and bucks, small bucks around, to keep those mature bucks where the activity is. Well, we got one at every bait. Some have 2. Where I have a cell cam, I also have a backup camera just in case there's a fail. So yeah, we're probably running around 80 cameras probably. One thing I'd like to talk about, we get lots of questions about our tree stands. We definitely have, we got over 50 bait sites, and we got 30 to 35 tree stands. These are custom tree stands. As you can see, we got a skirt around them, 3/4 covered. All of them are in evergreens. I always have them in evergreen. Better cover and stuff like that. Measurements, they're 50 inches from the tree out. And then the seat, the width is 33 inches, so plenty of room. And then when you sit down, as you can see, you're camoed a bit. You know, you're covered. And as you can see, there's a deer at the bait right now. We're sitting here talking, but it's kind of cool. So yeah, these are just, you know, it just breaks the wind, breaks your movement from the bait, and it's solid. There's little. Obviously you can't see from down there, but there's little hangers here for your you know, whatever you want to hang there, your binoculars or backpack, whatever. But and very, very safe. Full rail all the way around. The only way you'd fall out of here is if you jumped. So it's solid. Jumping on here. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to point out. I get a lot of questions about that. You know, we're next year will be our 7th season. That's enough time to grow a big deer. You know, lots of guys say, oh, 5.5. Yeah, some deer have it at 5.5, but you know, some deer need that extra 2 or 3 years to get to that maturity. So the payoff for the clients, people hunting here, is the reward of putting your time in the stand, putting your time in the blind, and having that 150 or 180 walk in. That is a huge reward for your time spent